Yes guys, what's going on? Welcome to AdamMcKola TV. I am Adam. This is the preview for Manchester United's next game, which is Rochdale at home in the EFL Cup, aka the Carabao Cup, which kicks off again for Manchester United and all the teams that are involved in European action. At this point, the third round, and United have a tie against Rochdale. Yes, League One Rochdale come to Old Trafford. An interesting tie ahead because obviously we expect Manchester United to field a below strength side. I say a below strength, it will feature a second string and maybe, if the Europa League game's anything to go by, a front four of very young academy talent. Now, that is something to look forward to, but when Manchester United need results, can they deliver that result for Manchester United? It remains to be seen, but we come up against a Rochdale side that haven't won in 5 games. They haven't won any of their last 4 games, 3 defeats in that, 1 draw. They lost against City's under-21s at home. So Manchester United should really be looking to get a victory and get through in the League Cup. But we know when the pressure's on, when the form is down, when confidence is low, stranger things can happen. So Manchester United have to be at it against Rochdale on Wednesday evening. Hope you guys are all doing well. We've got Shabahat, Junior, Rishit, Donny, Kevin, and Kevin again, and Ming in the comments. So thank you very much for all you guys for joining us here on AdamMcKola TV as we speak about the game. I'll be giving you obviously my predicted 11 for this match a little bit later on in this video, and I'll be giving you my score prediction as well. But as we look at this game, we come into it on the back of that defeat against West Ham United, which was a sucker punch for Manchester United. We've not won away from home since March. Obviously that victory in Paris, which was a memorable night, but even more memorable because it was the last time we won away from home in a competitive game. Now obviously this game is at home, where we've had mixed form this season. 2 wins against Chelsea and Leicester, so our more difficult games we've won this season at home, and Crystal Palace we suffered that defeat against. And we've seen against teams that like to sit with a low block and like to defend deep and sit there with 2 banks of 5 or 2 banks of 4 or whatever, we struggle to break them down, and we'll have to perform better than that we did against Crystal Palace here against Rochdale. Now obviously the level of opposition is of League One, but this will be their cup final. They're coming to Old Trafford. They're getting to play against Manchester United, a Manchester United side that aren't the Manchester United teams of old. So you come in there with a little bit more of impetus. Maybe we can pull off a shock, a little bit more confidence. United used to win games in the tunnel. Now obviously this Manchester United side doesn't have that fear factor because we don't have the results that come with it. Nevertheless, we should be winning this game. Good news for Manchester United fans this week is Paul Pogba is available for selection again. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said that obviously he can play some minutes against Rochdale, but they're more confident of him starting against Arsenal now. I'd start him against Rochdale and maybe take him off at half-time or take him off after 50, 55, 60 minutes or something like that. So he's a bit more ready. We've obviously got until Monday for that Arsenal game, so we've got a day or 2 extra in terms of preparation compared to usual Premier League games. But nevertheless, we do travel to Alkmaar straight after the Arsenal game, and the Rochdale game, is it that important in terms of, you know, risking Paul Pogba as such? Probably not. Nevertheless, if he's fit, if he's ready, I would sway towards starting him in this game, giving him that 50, 60 minutes, as I said, so he's a little bit more ready for Arsenal. You don't want to just start him against Arsenal, although Oli may choose to bring you on in the last 30 against Rochdale. Hopefully we would have the game sewn up by that point, but maybe if we need another goal or 2, or obviously just to give him some minutes with that game in mind. But great news for Manchester United that Paul Pogba is closer to a return for the club, because we've seen in midfield we're missing a massive amount of creativity. We didn't create many opportunities. Now Marcus Rashford has been criticised for his recent form, and rightly so. He's been out of form, but one thing that he didn't have was many opportunities against West Ham. And, you know, that lack of creativity in midfield, you'd like to hope Fred can start playing a little bit more so he can start starting games, because he's obviously got a little bit better passing Arsenal in him. And then Paul Pogba returning is obvious. He creates more chances than most midfielders in the Premier League. And if he's on form, he's creating up. Even if he's not on form, he's creating opportunities, as we've seen as well. And because his form has been inconsistent, but he's always remained quite high in terms of statistically pulling off chance creation and things like that. So really looking forward to seeing Paul Pogba back in the squad. Not seeing any update on Anthony Martial, so I assume that he's not ready for this game. And if he's not ready for this game, then, you know, like I said with Paul Pogba, you don't need to rush these players back for a game against Rochdale. You'd like to think we've got more than enough in our locker to be able to get a victory. Now, what kind of team will we play? I hope Ole persists with that kind of Europa League team that we saw. There's no need to start panicking. There's no need to start, you know, swaying away from things and thinking, oh, we need a result here, let's start Matic and let's start experienced play. Because ultimately, those experienced players haven't performed anyway. And I actually think, despite the fact we only won 1-0 against Astana, the younger players didn't do too badly for their first time out in European competition. Give them a go against Rochdale. Mason Greenwood, if he's back from his tonsillitis, give him a start. Angel Gomez, give him a start. Tahith Chong, give him. I want to see 2 or 3 of them start. Because there's no point now thinking, oh, Marcus Rashford needs goals. I know he's injured, but if he was fit, let's start him against Rochdale because he needs goals. Because it doesn't make sense. We started him against Astana, I assume, because we thought he needed a goal and he might get it against Astana. And then he gets injured against West Ham. And now we're another striker down. And at the moment, like we said, we don't know what's going on with Martial, so we've got 2 players out. So, look, against Rochdale, we're going to need to be at it. But nevertheless, I think we should field those younger players. I want to see Greenwood start up top through the middle. If Martial's not available, like we said, Marcus Rashford is injured, there's no other choice but to play Mason Greenwood through the middle. And in fact, the fact that he wasn't involved having, you know, whatever illness at the weekend should hopefully mean he's ready for this one. Angel Gomez, against Astana at times, I thought he was our best player. He occupies fantastic positions on the pitch. He's drifting in and out. He's got a little bit of pace about him. And he's quick in terms of his thinking. His quickness of thought is fantastic in terms of, oh, there's a little pass. Let me try something to make it happen. Might not come off, but he's got that in his locker. And I like that with Angel Gomez. Give him a start as well. You'd like to think on a big Old Trafford pitch against a Rochdale side, he might have a little bit of few pockets of space that he can manipulate and try and create opportunities for himself or for others. So again, I'd like to see Angel Gomez start. Kevin Green says, I want to see Ghana play in this game as well. And like I was saying with Paul Pogba, if Pogba starts in this game, take him off after 50 minutes. Give Ghana 40 minutes. You know what I mean? So he opens that up because we're not going to expect to see Pogba play 90 minutes in this game. David Jones, Luke, thank you for joining us. Adney says Lingard could use some minutes. Yes, Lingard could use some minutes and hopefully a good performance as well. Get a goal, get his confidence, get his mojo back. With a game against Arsenal, one of his favourite opposition next week, it'd be good to have an informed Jesse Lingard because we've seen tactically as well how important Jesse has been against Arsenal over the years, whether it's away from home or at home. He's been very important in those bigger games. So I know people may ridicule it and say, oh, he's been out of form and bring up his stats and his goals or whatever. But actually in those bigger games, he has been quite important. So if we can get Jesse playing in this game, get him a goal or get him, you know, playing well, then that'll be good with those games coming up. Zakaria says he wants to see Delo on right back. Chong hasn't impressed me, so it's not sure he will progress, says Sebastian. Look, everyone's entitled to their opinion, and I know you haven't been very harsh there, you're just giving your opinion. But what I would like to say, let's just relax a little bit with these lads. We've all seen the massive potential over the last 12 to 24 months that these guys have. And now we're bringing them into the first team. They've been around the first team for a matter of months. We're not going to get finished articles like that. Now you hope to see a little bit of quality from them at the start, and then they'll settle and they start to be themselves more and start to play more consistently. But you're going to have to expect inconsistency as well. And Tahith Chong could play this game and have an absolutely fantastic performance, and then you tomorrow are saying, oh, Tahith Chong's looking good, he should be starting against Arsenal. So things can change very quickly in football. And I think as fans, we have a day, it's kind of a bit hypocritical considering, you know, I speak about football every day on YouTube and stuff, but we have a case of over-analysing things, and we kind of have to step back and look at the bigger picture a little bit sometimes. And this is a very young squad with some very young players. Some of them, I'm not going to say a lot of them because you can, you know, mention them on your one hand, but some of them, this is their first proper experience of first team football. the pressures it takes to play for Man United. Then we obviously have the likes of Martial, Rashford. McTominay is the same age range, but he's been in the first team a little less. But we're going to have to start seeing those guys show consistency in performance. Maybe they might not get the stats or the goals and assists that we expect. You know, Rashford and Martial, I want to see 50 goals between them this season, and I don't think that's an unfair target. I think they can get between 40 and 50 goals between them this season. That's 20 plus each. And, you know, we have to start seeing them deliver consistently. These younger lads, these 17, 18, 19, relax a little bit. Not everybody's Wayne Rooney or Ryan Giggs at that age. Muda, thank you for your comment. Ali has done what the fans wanted, says Luke. Play the youth, says Elia. Beat Rochdale, I reckon we will do it. 21 still answers Tom's having a laugh in the comments. Thank you to you all for joining us, by the way, for the Rochdale preview, United's first EFL Cup game of the season. An interesting game ahead, as it always is against lower league opposition. One of my earliest memories of the League Cup is United losing against York City. Oh, the days. Was it, I think, 95? I think. That's one of my earliest memories of the league. It was called the McKola Cup then, I think. And we lost 3-0 against York City. And then I remember going to a game against Villa in the Worthington Cup. It might have been around 2000, maybe. And we lost 3-0 in that as well. I only used to get to about 10 games a season when I was a kid. We had a membership and stuff. So up until the age of like 14, 15, I was going to about 10 games a season. Sometimes more, sometimes a little less. But the cup games were the ones that we lost the most, I think. Shock defeats like that. And then like, I remember the Paolo Di Canio one. So after United were out of it because we were in the Club World Cup, then we come back into the competition, third round FA Cup. I think it was 2001 at Old Trafford. And Bartes tried to put Di Canio off with his hand up. And I remember leaving Old Trafford thinking, bloody hell, we lost. Really shocked. It was one of very few defeats I saw as a kid going to Old Trafford. All the days, eh? Reminiscing again, eh? Pratic's given his team, which is Romero, Delo, Jones, Axel, Rojo, Fred, Garnett, Lingard, Gomez, Pereira, and Greenwood. Is that 11 players? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It is 11 players. I'll give you my 11 now. This is my 11. So Romero, Delo, Axel, Jones, Rojo. So we've got the same team so far. Me and you, Pratic, Fred, Pogba. Differs there. You've got Ghana. Angel Gomez, Tahith Chong, Jesse Lingard and Mason Greenwood in a front four. So we've got the same front four. Me and Pratic, just one player difference between our predicted 11s or preferred 11s. I don't know whether that's... Pratic says that's what he wants the team to be. This is what I think the team should be. Give Pogba some minutes before that Arsenal game. Hopefully take him off early. Fred, give him some more minutes. Get him ready for starting games. We need him to be starting games. You can take one of them off then for James Garner a little bit later on into the game. Angel Gomez, Mason Greenwood, I want to see those two definitely getting a start. Lingard, like to see him used, as I said earlier. Jesse Lingard coming in. Get him a goal, get him something, get him a good performance and get him some confidence and get him his mojo back before that Arsenal game. Tahith Chong could play Daniel James potentially, but I've gone with Tahith Chong there. Daniel James obviously played, I think, full 90 against West Ham United, and Mason Greenwood, who was out of that game against West Ham, out of the squad completely with tonsillitis. Hopefully, his fingers crossed, is back, and we'll go with Mason Greenwood up top. So that's my team. Rojo in goal, Delo, Rojo, Axel Tuanzebe and Phil Jones, which is the same back five we saw in the Europa League game against Astana. Kept a clean sheet in that game as well. Fred and Pogba in the midfield. Pogba is of course available for selection again. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer says he should definitely be available for the Arsenal game, but could play some minutes against Rochdale. Then I've gone with Angel Gomez through the middle, just off the striker Mason Greenwood, with Jesse and Tahith Chong occupying the wider positions. Obviously, Angel Gomez likes to roam. Jesse Lingard likes to roam. Those two could potentially swap positions as well. So that's what we're looking at there in terms of my predicted 11 coming up against a Rochdale side who sits 17th in League One, just 6 points above the relegation zone. 9 games played, 10 points, 10 goals scored, 14 goals conceded. They've lost 3 of their last 4 games. One of them was against Man City's under 21s. One of those was a 6-0 defeat against Peterborough, a 1-1 draw with Lincoln, and a 2-1 defeat against Joey Barton's Fleetwood. Their last victory coming away from home against Southend, and they beat Carlisle in the last round of the EFL Cup at home. That was. Now United obviously coming up against the Rochdale side, but Rochdale will come into this thinking this is the game of our lives. I'm just trying to see if they've got any familiar faces in their squad, and I can't see any, to be totally honest with you. Their coach is called Brian Barry Murphy. They've got a Spanish goalkeeper called Robert Sanchez, who's their only non-British or Irish player, which is another irrelevant stat for you about Rochdale. But they sit 17th in the League One table, and they come to Old Trafford looking to pull off a shock of all shocks. Would it even be a shock if United lost this game? I actually think this team, I don't think they'd suffer from a lack of confidence, because obviously a lot of them played in the Europa League game and won that game. Ibrahim, I'm reading comments. I would read your comments if you typed more than just the word Arsenal. What's wrong with you, bruv? Tom, hope you're doing well. Adne says, hoping that Pogba can play in a little more attacking role against Arsenal. I agree. I have him in that position because we're playing against Rochdale. I actually think against Arsenal, we'll see McTominay come into that position where he's occupying there next to Fred, and see Pogba play further forward. Hopefully Fred will be available for that. I want to see eventually a midfield of McTominay, Fred and Pogba, and see what we can do with that. See how that can work out. I really want to see that put together, just to see how it performs. Because I feel like out of the availability that we have, that may be the one that can do something. So, I don't know, just me maybe. But I'd like to see a midfield of McTominay, Fred and Pogba against Arsenal. McTominay run his socks off against West Ham. He's been playing a lot of football. I'd rest McTominay for this game and give Fred some more minutes and Pogba some valuable minutes. So that's my predicted 11, guys. Get your predicted 11 in the comments below. Pratik thinks Pogba should play less, so that he plays against Arsenal. Adam Wilmot's commenting on record revenue for United again. Yes, there was obviously the commercial release of the results today, and the the shareholders phone call, or whatever, conference call, or whatever it's called, and Ed Woodward and Richard Arnold briefing shareholders about the future for United and saying they see progress and they see what's happening behind the scenes, and they seem to be trying to intimate to shareholders that the future looks bright at Manchester United. So obviously that certain results don't affect badly on the share price. Typical things with them. I'd like to see action. I know letting Herrera and Lukaku go and not replacing those. Does that seem like it makes sense what we're doing and our policy is working? I'm not too sure. So I'm pretty much sick of what Ed Woodward's got to say, to be totally honest with you. United needs Zlatan now, says Tufan. Clayton Blackmore was speaking about that recently, wasn't he? About Zlatan coming to United. His experience could work very well for United. I've not watched too much of him out in America. I know he's scoring a lot of goals and getting hat tricks and stuff like that, but I'm not too sure whether he's physically still got it for the Premier League. But obviously we might need to. We've got no strikers. We might need Ali to bring his boots tomorrow. He might be on the bench. Arsenal will have one more day extra after their game. I think. Any update on Martial? No update on Martial just yet, but I am actually gonna just search for something just to see if anything's popped up in the last hour or so. So I see one report there saying Ole Gunnar Solskjaer revealed Anthony Martial and Mason Greenwood will definitely return to action against Arsenal. So does that mean Greenwood's not available tomorrow? This is the Metro though, so I don't. Yeah, he said hopefully Mason and Anthony will be back for definitely Arsenal. Hopefully one of them against Rochdale. I'd rather hopefully Mason Greenwood's available for the game tomorrow. Martial for the game against Arsenal. We really do need Martial back very, very soon. I'm not from India, Kato. My dad's family originates from India. My dad's born in England. My dad's family though originate from India. And my mum's family originate from Ireland. So that's the sketch there. I guess that's in relation to the Instagram story with my India shirt. So Manchester United, Rochdale in the EFL Cup. Manchester United hopefully getting a victory and hopefully going through in the cup as well. Make sure you're keeping it locked to the channel. There's plenty more coming the way as well. We'll have reaction from Old Trafford following the Rochdale game. We'll have the match day vlog as well. I recorded a match day vlog after the West Ham game. I recorded a match day vlog. I forgot to do an outro, and I just thought I can't be arsed. Like, I just can't be arsed. So sorry that I didn't upload the vlog from then. This geezer just posting the same comment after comment after comment. I can't help someone just posting 10 times one thing, so I've muted him for a little bit. He'll be back soon anyway. Sorry mate, but chill out, yeah. Someone said Colin. Jesus, that sounds a bit scary, doesn't it? If Greenwood isn't available tomorrow, then who should be our striker? It looks like Rashford is out too. Says Rashford's definitely out. I think Greenwood should be back. I think Greenwood will be back. Thank you, Zachariah, for your comments. And remember, guys, keep it like. Make sure you're liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing to the channel as well. This has been the Rochdale preview. My score prediction for the game is... We've kept the clean sheet in a few times at home. I go for 3-0 United. Be a little bit confident. I think it'll take us a while to break them down, but once we break them down, we'll get a few goals. So that's my prediction for the game. Get a few of your predictions in and I'll read them out before we head off here on the preview. Thank you, David, for your comment. Luke, Tom, cheers, mate. Pratik, cheers, mate. What other forwards are in? Not many, really. I'm not kept up to date recently on the youth team. Greenwood and Gomez for the link-up 2 tiers wants to see. We got Pratik's going for 2-0 United. 1-0 again, says Luke. Matthew, any more quick predictions before we wrap up this live stream, which has been Manchester United vs Rochdale, the preview? I'm going for 3-0. Kevin's going for 2-0 and 0-0, and United lose on Pence's football fan chat, who's pessimistic. Very optimistic is an aunt who says 6-0. Ming and Adam say 1-0 and Mo says 4-0. I'm going 3-0. So guys, thank you for tuning in. Keep it locked. David 5-0, Zachariah 3-1. I'm out of here.